U.S.-Russia relations getting colder by the minute. The United States officially accusing Russian President Vladimir Putin with violating a landmark arms control treaty with the U.S. But there's even more. This violation has been going on for years, since 2008. Senior U.S. officials say Russia's test of ground-launched cruise missiles violates a 1987 treaty signed by President Reagan and Soviet leader Gorbachev. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Glad to be with you.
Why are we just hearing this now? What's been the big secret, whether they're violating or not violating it?
Well, I think we have believed for quite some time that they have been violating the treaty. But, you know, it goes against the grain, both at the State Department and certainly in the Obama administration, ever to accuse the Russians of violating any arms control agreement, because that breaks through this theology that these agreements by and large work. The violations of the INF Treaty have been known on the Hill for quite some time, and I think the administration finally decided they had to fess up to one violation. And by the way, there's another that they don't mention in the report that they issued today, because otherwise it would leak and be even more embarrassing to them. But there's no indication that President Obama understands the gravity of this violation or for what it means for the larger issue of U.S.-Russia relations, or Russia's broader efforts to advance its interests around the world.
All right. So you talk about what does it mean for the broader picture? I mean, if they're violating this.
Well, the president was asked today, is there a new Cold War between the United States and Russia? And he said, no, this relates to a specific issue we have with them over Ukraine, when he proposed additional sanctions. Now, these sanctions and the entire Obama administration policy on Ukraine have not deterred the Russians one iota from using military force to try and change borders in Europe. They've already annexed the Crimea. You add to it the violation of the INF Treaty, and I would add near certain violations of things like the Chemical Weapons Convention and other treaties. The actions that Russia has taken in Syria opens the question whether the Syrians adhered fully to their agreement on chemical weapons, Iran, nuclear weapons. The list goes on and on. It forms a pattern of Russian behavior under Putin that's very threatening to American interest.
All right, we only have a short time left. The sanctions, they've now been stiffened by the Europeans and by us. Does that mean anything in recent time?
Basically, no. These are marginal increases in the sanction. They've been talked about for weeks. The Russians have already tried to mitigate them. I don't think there's any evidence they're going to slow Putin down. In some respects, these minimal sanctions are worse than no sanctions at all, because it reinforces Putin's view he can do what he wants in Ukraine.
Yeah. Ambassador, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And NFL